Hi, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to start our second quarter of notes. So if you notice, our numbering is starting over, and now it's called Notes 1 because this is the beginning of the second quarter. We finished our first unit on integers and fractions and number sense topics, and now we're going to move on to a unit on rates and proportional relationships, percents, all of that fun stuff. So for the second quarter, we're going to start our note counting over. So please title these notes Notes 1, and they're called ratios and unit rates. And I have 3 vocabulary words for you to quickly define. A ratio is a comparison of 2 things using division. So I could compare the number of boys in the class to the number of girls in the class. We could compare the number of rainy days to non-rainy days. We can compare the number of people that like popcorn as their favorite snack compared to the number of people that like Reese's Pieces as their favorite snack. There are 3 ways of writing a ratio. 3. You can write it with a colon, comparing 1 and 2. You can write it with the word 2, or you can write it with a fraction, like 3 over 5. All of these are different ways of representing a ratio. And we're going to get more specific as we go. So a ratio is just comparing 2 things. A rate is comparing 2 things with different units. So if I can drive 400 miles with 20 gallons of gas, that's a rate. 400 miles and 20 gallons. Those units are different. One is the capacity. The gallons is capacity and the miles is distance. And then there's a more specific kind of rate. So a rate is a kind of ratio with special different units. A unit rate is a type of rate where the denominator is 1. If you look at this rate above here, this denominator was 20. So a unit rate is when the denominator is 1. Like 35 miles per hour. That's a unit rate. It's for 1 hour. I'm allowed to drive 35 miles. So that's the speed. 35 miles in 1 hour. So a unit rate has a denominator of 1. Our overall goal today is going to be to find unit rates. And to find unit rates, you're going to divide. You're going to divide to find unit rates. I can make that more glamorous. Woohoo! You're going to do division. So if I had that 400 miles in 20 gallons of gas, to find the unit rate, how many miles for 1 gallon, I would divide 400 divided by 20, and that's 20 miles per gallon of gas. 20 miles in 1 gallon. And I got that by doing 400 divided by 20. If I'm going too quickly, feel free to pause in order to catch up. To find the unit price, this is what I use. Like people talk about, why do I have to know this math? I use unit price almost every single time I go to the grocery store because I want to compare and I want to buy the best deal. I don't want to spend extra money. I want to make sure that I'm using my money being resourceful. So to find the unit price, we have a formula that we're going to use. The unit price's formula is always the price divided by the amount. The formula is always price divided by the amount. And so if I'm going to have a price, well, I'm going to pause and then come back because I don't want us to run out of time. So come back and watch notes 2, part 2.